Hello, fellow members of the Midnight Society. Welcome back to another episode review from the show Are You Afraid of the Dark? Last time, we covered The Tale of the Fire Ghost, a Tucker story about two kids haunted by an evil spirit at a fire station. Tonight's narrative, from Kiki, is about two teens who find themselves in a mysterious place after encountering some men in black. Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, I call this Season 4, Episode 11, The Tale of the Closet Keepers. We open on Tucker and Gary already at the fire as Frank and Sam approach. Sam asks who is telling the night's story, and Gary says Kiki, to which Tucker responds,
"She just told one."
So?
So what happened? Did she threaten to pound you if you didn't give her another turn?
Things then get weird. Frank laughs and says that Kiki could probably do it too, but what's strange is that Gary's reaction to the whole situation implies that maybe that's what happened? I mean, he doesn't deny it, nor does he really respond at all, and I can't tell if the look on his face is shame from getting bullied or just seething hatred for Tucker. I know which it would be if I were him. In fact, if I didn't mind the editing so much, I would just call Tucker f***er. In fact, maybe I'll just start doing that from now on. For therapeutic purposes, of course. I won't even take out his name. We'll make it a full official title. It'll be Tucker the Little Fuck. Betty Ann then shows up and gives a formal introduction for Kiki. Well, as formal as a teenager can.
Wait till you guys see this.
Everyone makes a big deal out of seeing Kiki in a dress, especially Tucker, who is apparently also learning what an erection is.
I don't believe it. You look like a girl.
Gary asks Kiki if she's dressed up that way for her story, and she says that she's doing it to make a statement. She says that everyone has more than one side, and you shouldn't think you know everything about them just because you look at them one way. And, I mean, that is a very valid point, but no matter which way I look at Tucker, I still hate him.
I'm sure of it. I hate him.
The tale begins on our main character, Stacy, walking behind some other kids. Kiki gives some voiceover narration letting us know that Stacy is incredibly smart and excellent at basketball. She's also deaf, which some people have a problem with.
Look, we've got signals and we've got plays. She never gets it till someone repeats it, and then it's too late.
This intolerant douche is named Billy, and you know he's a douche because he flat out says that they use signals in basketball. Yeah, so set up some simple hand signals that you can do on one hand to let your teammate know what play is coming. I mean, how difficult is that? I mean, sure, yeah, it would take some planning and strategy, and the only thing we know about Billy is that he only cares about winning, which doesn't come from using either of those two things.
Exactly.
Stacy pulls Coolio aside to translate to Billy that maybe he's the one that doesn't understand. He says that's right, and that they can't win if they have to do everything special for her. This causes Stacy to run off in frustration. Coolio then thanks Billy for being a jerk, and he says,
Hey, it's not my fault she's sensitive about being deaf.
Yeah, it is actually. People become sensitive about things because twats like you make them feel bad and push them down instead of supporting them. I mean, this is either going to be a The Jerk Learns a Lesson episode or The Jerk Gets His Comeuppance episode, and right now I'm really hoping for the latter.
In your dream.
Stacy doesn't run very far and, in an attempt to hide from the others, ducks into a crack house? Question mark? She sees a flickering light from upstairs and hides. Two men in dark suits come downstairs and have a cryptic exchange.
No geeks, no nerds, no freaks.
Okay, look. When I was a kid, I wouldn't have wanted to be kidnapped by the men in black here, but I am offended to have not even made the cut, because as a nerd, I wouldn't have made your list of attractive children. I deserve to be kidnapped too, damn it! Anyway, the two men leave the abandoned building and walk down the street looking completely normal. Stacy heads upstairs and sees a green light flashing on the other side of a closed door. She opens it to find darkness, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I guess that bulb is only set to strobe when the door's closed. She steps inside and the door closes behind her. The cylindrical room then lights up and begins spinning. Shortly after, Stacy emerges from a pinkish, veiny shaft. And I'm sorry if I ruined that for anyone, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. And if I have to live with it, so do you. Don't blame me. Blame the set designer.
That could be a major mistake.
Stacy finds herself in a room that the set department spent tens of dollars on, and while she's looking around, the shaft closes, trapping her on the set of an Ed Wood film. We cut back to Billy, who is on the basketball court. He's approached by the men in black, who ask him to come with them. Whoa, time out. Okay. I seem to recall you saying something about no nerds or geeks. When did a white kid with his shirt tucked into his pants playing basketball with himself become the epitome of cool? I mean, if that's what you're looking for, Kid Me definitely had a shot at getting abducted. You know, guys, sometimes it's just nice to feel included.
You lost me.
Billy declines to go with the guys who are definitely not aliens, so they use their secret weapon. Back on the, what I'm assuming is supposed to be a spaceship, Stacy sees someone coming, so she hides behind an alien tablecloth. I mean, you can tell it's high-tech because it's metallic looking. Sort of. Anyway, 2 more men in black come out, press the United Kingdom on the glowing map of the Earth, don bowler hats, and then work on how they're gonna fit in.
I say, what ho?
Jolly good, what?
I don't know what the alien agenda is here, but whatever it is, I think we're fine. I mean, if these are your best infiltrators, then yeah, we're good. We're good. I mean, why even bother with the disguises and lame attempts at regional slang when it seems like you just end up using your space gun to kidnap kids anyway?
You've got excellent moves on the court, dude.
Stacy accidentally knocks over a alien vase, prompting the men in black to shoot at her with their space gun. The bowler hats are confused that the gun didn't affect her and assume they missed. Stacy stumbles into another room where the door locks behind her and an alarm starts to sound. We discover a bunch of kids in cells and they plead for Stacy to turn off the alarm, which, just like the space gun, has no effect on her. Stacy turns off the alarm and is captured by the bowler hats. They then throw her into a cell that looks like it's painted to be a 90s cartoon kids room. I mean, as far as space prisons go, I dig it. Stacy sees an open doorway, but when she attempts to go through it, she sees... Did you guys use the entire budget on the fire ghost effects from the last episode? What the f*** was this? Anyway, it's at this point that we meet who is running the show.
Smile. We don't want you to disappoint your public.
Wait, this guy emotes and speaks with a perfect understanding of the human vernacular? Why the hell isn't he leading the away missions? I'm sure this guy, paired with maybe, I don't know, Dr. Vink, could lure all kinds of children to their dooms. Anyway, this scenery chewer explains his entire plan in detail, and I know what you might be thinking. So what? Stacy's deaf. But she has the ability to read lips, and not like the real, actual ability to read lips. I'm talking like the TV movie version of it, which means that she can basically hear you so long as she can see your mouth.
Perfect.
Anyway, this is the Keeper, and apparently he's creating a space zoo made up of Earth's children from all over the world, but who speak conveniently with only North American accents. He assumes that Stacy is unintelligent and says that that's probably for the best because the bright ones tend not to last. He then gives an example of the ship's security system.
Understand?
What did that guy ever do to you other than serve you loyally? Hey, you don't have to take that shit, bro. I'm sure there's plenty of other space zoos hiring. Or, you guys are presumably near Earth, just get a nice cushy security gig at a mall. Although, I don't know, getting kicked in the shins by shoplifting teens might be just as painful.
We don't want an uprising on our hands.
A bit after the Keeper and guard leave, Billy is brought into the room. And... has being kidnapped by aliens changed his world perspective?
I gotta get stuck with someone who can't even talk.
I hope those sound waves explode his head. I really do.
But why?
Stacy explains through charades that they are the attractions in a zoo. Billy doesn't believe her until... Didn't have the budget for a different type of alien zoo patron, huh? I mean, those fire ghost effects were really good, so money well spent. Billy tries to make a run for it, getting caught in the sound beams. Stacy pulls him out of it, and we transition back over to the Sci-Fi Channel original film set to see two of the Men in Black enter the veiny shaft and presumably get blown back to Earth. We then see the Keeper tell the abused guard that there is something odd about Stacy. He then says,
I'm afraid she will need to be eliminated.
We cut back to Stacy and Billy as a door opens to their cell. They head through and find themselves back in the cell block that Stacy initially stumbled into before getting captured. It's feeding time for the captives, and what's on the menu? Lime Jello. I mean, loaded with sugar, but I can't see any kids complaining.
It's not bad if you don't look at it.
Billy starts talking to a little girl from Britain, maybe? Based on her school uniform and some evidence later in the episode, I believe that's the implication, but she has no English accent at all. Apparently, she's played by the real-life sister of the actor who played Eric on the show. And, I mean, look, casting his sister is the least they could do after they murdered Eric, buried him in the woods, and replaced him with Tucker. And no, I will not let that theory go. The rest of the gang murdered him, buried him in the woods, and they take turns urinating on his grave when they leave the woods every night.
Are you sure?
Billy reveals to the British girl that Stacy is deaf, and she gets very excited. Billy asks why, and she says it's because they use sound to keep them locked up, which is completely asinine. I mean, just from a cost perspective, a reinforced alien plexiglass door would be cheaper to install and maintain while still providing viewing access to your zoo patrons, and most importantly, can't be circumvented because someone can't hear it.
Soon we'll be fully operational.
The Keeper appears on the cell block telling the kids to shut up during mealtime. He then notices Billy and Stacy not eating and says,
Not hungry. You will be.
"Why do you care if she eats or not? You already told your goon to kill her. Speaking of which, what the f*** happened with that?"
We have to get rid of her.
Okay, I understand why this had to happen here, so Stacy could read your lips, but then why was it necessary to have this same conversation moments ago in the other room? Does your guard have short-term memory loss? And if he does, it's probably because you're always jamming his head into that security field as a demonstration. He probably doesn't know who he is half the time.
Not very bright, are you?
Stacy tells Billy that she's been marked for death. He tells her to run since the security doesn't work on her. She says no. Billy asks her why, and she says for two reasons. One, because the guards will still hear the alarm and catch her anyway, and two, because she doesn't want to leave Billy behind. You hear that, Billy? Because she's not a twat like some other people.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Billy asks why, since he hasn't been very nice to her, and she replies,
That's because I can hear when you don't listen.
Billy says he's listening now, and asks if she has any idea on how to get out of their captivity. She quickly comes up with an idea and motions to the mirror. Billy doesn't understand, so she takes the foil wrapper off a candy bar he had in his pocket and demonstrates.
Look out!
The alarm didn't go off.
So, not only do these aliens have a security system with multiple flaws, but they also provide the children with the means to bypass it? These are, without a doubt, the worst aliens I have ever heard of.
But you have heard of me.
Billy accidentally breaks the mirror while taking it off the wall and discovers a camera located behind it. Without hesitation, Stacy grabs a large portion of the mirror and legs it through the opening.
What about me?
You know, for a moment, when I thought she was leaving him behind, my heart sang. But deep down, I knew it wasn't meant to be because Stacy is just too good a person to stoop to my level. She makes her way around to the cell doors and opens them, freeing all of the children. All 5 of them. And Billy. Security comes around, but Stacy is now trained in the weirding way and makes short work of them. The kids make it back to the Roger Corman film set and Billy jams the door. Stacy and Billy then send each kid home by touching their country of origin on the glowing world map and loading them into the veiny shaft to be shot back to Earth. They get all the others out, but before they can leave, the Keeper shows up and grabs Billy. The Keeper fires his gun at Stacy, and Billy subtly convinces her to pretend that it's working.
See, I was right about you. That's more like it.
The Keeper begins to gloat until Stacy reveals she was faking it. She goes to activate the security, but the Keeper tells her to stop because she wouldn't want to hurt her friend. This does get her to pause, but Billy covers his ears and tells her to do it! With the Keeper disabled by his own shitty security system, Stacy and Billy prepare to give the veiny shaft one last ride. Again, don't blame me, blame the set designers. Anyway, with all this going on, the Keeper vows revenge.
I'm going to find you!
Back on Earth, the shaft disappears, implying that the aliens are gone. Stacy then shows Billy how to sign thank you, and the two head off in an awkward way that hints that they may also be aliens. Kiki ends the tale by saying that Billy and Stacy became friends, and then she says the end in sign language to the group. Gary actually douses the fire in a healthy dose of water for a change, though still not enough for safety standards. As everyone is leaving, Betty Ann asks Kiki if she wants to go shopping the next day, and Kiki says,
Get real.
I guess she doesn't have more than one side after all.
I'm gonna smack you.
Now for the review. I am so in the middle on this one. There was a lot of good, but there was also a lot of bad. I mean, the concept was great, the acting was good, the makeup and costumes were questionable, the sets were all over the place, and this also had one of the sillier villain weaknesses.
Interesting.
The settings were a mixed bag. I thought the initial room on the alien ship was awful. Beyond awful. It looked cheap, and I'm not sure who thought it was a good idea to paint and decorate the alien transportation tube to look like a phallus, but mission accomplished. On the other side of the spectrum, I love the look of the cell block and the habitats painted up to look like a child's room. It's just the kind of crappy thing you'd expect to see at a zoo. The only thing that was missing for me would have been something on one of the sets just to show that they were in outer space. And this could have been done relatively easily. I mean, it's an effect they've been using on sci-fi TV shows since the dawn of time, let's say. And you could do it one of two ways. Either a black backdrop with pinholes in it lit from behind, or you could have a black flat with white Christmas lights poking through it. And, I mean, sure, you're not going to light the screen on fire with either of those, but it would give you the desired effect on a budget.
Malfunction? Negative.
The story. I love the idea of an alien zoo with humans on display. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've seen a similar story on The Twilight Zone or The Outer Limits before. What bothered me about this was the security system. I get the weapons being sound-based, but all of the security? I'm also unclear as to why this was called the Tale of the Closet Keepers. I could see if the aliens transported directly into children's closets to kidnap them, thus lending credit to the monster in my closet fear that kids have, but the only room we ever see this shaft take anyone to is in an abandoned building. I mean, picture it. Kids telling their parents that there's a monster in their closet. They don't listen, and then the kids go missing, with the final reveal being that they're on this space zoo. How cool would that have been? It's a huge missed opportunity, guys.
He's just being a jerk.
The scares. Well, this one leaned into the sci-fi more than horror, so unless you had a deep fear of being abducted by aliens or obnoxious noises, I don't think there's much for you here. The men in black could have been scary, but they came across more goofy than anything. Younger me definitely wouldn't have found this one scary, though it might have convinced him to keep playing basketball by himself if I knew that's what aliens were into.
Yes, something like that.
The acting in this episode was pretty good. I won't be covering the kids of many nations since most of them didn't speak, and the ones that did had barely any lines. Billy was a great jerk, and was believable when he comes around to see the error of his ways. While Stacy had hardly any lines, I thought she was great. I was excited to see a deaf actress getting this opportunity until I discovered that she is not a deaf actress, and in fact has been on the show previously in The Tale of the Lonely Ghost. But I don't blame the actress for that. I blame Hollywood, and to a lesser degree, the production.
Behavioral or physical characteristics to be avoided.
The adult acting in this episode was also good. The men in black and the zoo guards aren't really worth mentioning, but the Keeper was another over-the-top Are You Afraid of the Dark villain. He was sinister, almost charming, and a lot of fun to watch.
There are those who will pay handsomely for such an educational experience.
Kiki, while I am torn on the tale of the Closet Keepers, I'm going to say that it meets the approval of the Midnight Society. Pink veiny shafts aside, and honestly, I would have loved to have been there when you were describing it to the others and they were trying not to giggle. But that is not the point. That is not the point. Good job, Kiki.
Chill out, guys. It's no big deal.
I wanted to apologize. This month has not been kind with medical stuff, and I'm actually barely able to see right now, so this video almost didn't happen, but making them keeps me sane. So I pushed through, but unfortunately I wasn't able to post all of the usual polls for this tale, but I wanted to thank everyone for their continued support of the channel, and Pip, pip, cheerio, Gov. You are coming with us for our new middle-aged nerd exhibit. To the transportation phallus, post haste. It's finally happening. They like me. They really, really like me. What did you all think of Kiki's story? Did you see it as a kid? What would you do if you were approached by two aliens in bowler hats? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to check out the next episode on the tale of the unfinished painting. Until then, are you afraid of the dark? Thanksgiving for peeping with your eye holes, human friends. You will give the thumb of the up, sharing is caring, and perform the scribe of the sub. If you do not, we will expostulate. Expostulate!